Hey, this is Ningy from GuardianTalesGuides.com, and I'm going to kind of go over Conquest. It's on KR. The first thing to note is there's three places, or three stages. Fire Bloom, same enemies, 600 over here, fire. And then Arabelle is dark with 300. And then Chromie is basic with 400, right? So the other thing to note is that you get, there's only 4 bosses, well, let's say, there's nodes. There's 4 elements to work with. Basic, earth, light, and fire. Fire is going to be goblin. On every single time you see a fire on anywhere, it's going to be goblin. Light is always going to be Garen. Basic is always going to be Invader Commander. And Panda is always going to be earth. So reading through between the lines here, Earth isn't going to ever have elemental advantage on any actual node. And yeah, and neither is, what's the other one? Dark, no, light? Yeah, light. So light and earth are actually some of your hardest hitting teams, so you're not going to use those as much. That being said, the first hit points of the boss on the first node is 3 million, level 68. Over here in the last ones, 12 million to level 71. Then we get to the second stage, 100 million, first boss, 74. And then 140 million. Yeah, 76. I'm going to start off the next one, 180, and then to 330. So it gets heavy on the hit points pretty quick. The first stage, everybody will basically be, this is a rank 500 guild, in raids anyway. So they've made some mistakes here. This is mine on KR. We've made some mistakes here on how we did the strategy, but we're going to kind of go over it real quick. It's all about attempts, right? And doing the math on the attempts, right? So some of these nodes, like the little cars, are basically just for capture points. Cool, whatever. The barracks, however, they give you like little buffs. Not enough to warrant the attempts for a little while, though. These guys will reduce the monster level, so these are kind of golden. This is pretty strong. This one will remove special rules on boss encounters. So this is going to be removing special rules on something around here. I forget which ones they were. This guy, you don't really have to worry about this unless you're super progressive. These will only actually kind of do anything, I think, once you beat the last boss or whatever. But the large button, if you get all 3 of them in all the stages, they will create a new boss that you can fight after the end. And they're kind of off the beaten path, so it's a little bit of a chore, right? Okay, so the main thing here is, like, it's all about attempts, all about hit points, right? Boss 640 million, you look at your guild. It's like, I just happen to know this because I remember doing this the first time we did Conquest. 40 million hit points for us is 4 attacks. So 4 attempts. That's how, like, we won't go out of our way for 4 attempts, right? So this is going to reduce the hit points of the boss about 10 million, right? I'm sorry, a little bit more than 10 million. Whatever the math is on that, a third of it, 13 million. So that's a little more than one attempt for us. So it takes 3 attempts to get this. So 13 million for us on a hit. That's what it reduces the boss. It takes 3 attempts. That's 30 million worth of damage versus 13 here, plus 1, 2, 3 to get these, right? On the first stage, that's not that big. They're like 10 million damage for these, 5 million, even that. But it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts to get 13 million. On a less progressive guild, that might be pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just do the math. Doesn't seem worth it. Don't know why this guild did it, but whatever. Because they're totally capable of doing better than that. Anyways, going through here, this will, some of these, like the communication command centers, they have special special rules that they reduce. Fire and water, where elements were banned from some of these bosses, not anymore, so we removed it. And these guys just reduce defense. So they're always going to do the same thing. So we're getting to the stage here where it gets a little bit more interesting, right? Reduces defense, that's cool. This is actually going to reduce monster level. So this is kind of gold. Seems like that's a pretty good one to hit, right? So you want to skip this until later on. So monster defense. So you probably want to go up, hit this for the defense, hit this for the monster level, and then, okay, removes range attack immunity encounter for these 3 boss fights. So if that really means like ranged as in attacking from range rather than melee or range, I'm going to go ahead and say it means cast from afar. So we're talking Goblin, Panda, and Garum. So to negate being able to use range, it seems like you're going to want to hit this for 6. So you're looking at like this, and then I would just go straight through. Probably, and then just kind of tag some of these along the way. This guild went for this, which is -1 defense, but they went through, how many? 400 million worth of hit points, 440 million of hit points to get -1 defense, and that, which is, I'm sorry, this, which doesn't actually give a benefit. That's just an absorbent amount of spin to get very little out of it. Not useful. And then they went up over here. They spent 80 million, 100 million, and then 6 more hits to get water and basic damage, which is nothing. Like plus 30 water, that's not much. That's not enough to account for that. So either way, like, but you got to kind of figure out how much your damage is worth attempt-wise, and then do the calculations to figure it out. This kind of seems straightforward to me. It's bloop, something like that, depending on where your guild's at. Now look at this one real quick. This is a good one. It's going to reduce the hit points of the boss 25%. The boss is 300,000, so it's probably 75 million or something like that. Now it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 attempts to get this. So if your guild can do 10 million on Arabelle per hit, that's actually, that is light. That's the only thing light's going to be hitting is Arabelle. 10 million, yeah, I'd say that's very possible. 10 million on Arabelle. So you're looking at 9 hits here. That's 90 million damage. You're getting 75 off. But then in addition to that, you have to take off 120 million of Goblin, right? So you're looking at a buy-in for 10 million per 90. I'm sorry. Plus 120. So that's 210 million for 75 million hit points. Not worth it. Just move on. So yeah, I would just basically like, you know, just kind of like go up and around, get this. Now getting to the third one, this is where it gets super interesting. So there's a lot of different options here. And these things actually just weaken the boss's attack. I don't know how much it weakens them though. I have no idea. I honestly haven't been doing enough reading up. It's been a really long work week, but whatever. So anyways, you're going to need to plot your path. The obvious path is definitely going to be like that. There's no avoiding that. It's just a matter of how much do you want to kind of move to the other sides to pick everything else up. That's kind of what it really comes down to. So go through here, do your path, and then later on, you might be progressive enough to hit that. But like, look at this. Okay, so over here, you have to go to get this, which is 45% range damage. You have to definitely, let's see what this is, monster level. That'd be great. That's not too bad. But to get this, you're going to do 240, 240, 270, 270, 270. You're looking at like 1.3 billion hit points just to get here, and then spend another 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of attempts to get 45%. That's not that great. It's not worth that. This is probably still not worth that, but whatever. That's just a lot. So yeah, you really got to kind of figure out what's valuable and what's not. Like if I'm looking at it right now, there's no negative defense on any of these things. So yeah, I don't know. Like Now the other thing is to worry about is that as a guild, this is going to be tricky, right? So let's say we're going to start on this one, right? And we do need, let's say, if we want to get this, which is monster enlargement. I don't know what the shit that does, but on these two, there's monster enlargement. You definitely only have to hit one of them. This node, this takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 to hit this, plus another 210 to get to it. So if that's, yeah, it just seems heavy. Just heavy. Doesn't seem worth it, but whatever. I don't even know what monster enlargement really is. Makes it bigger, I know that much, but I'm not sure how much damage or defense that gives it. Nonetheless, if you start here, right, you've got a basic boss, and then you can't move on to there. Your guildmates can't hit that until this is dead. So once you get to here, they have to hit this to move on to the next one. So it's very linear for a little while. You're gonna do your full path, and maybe you might want your guildmates to start branching off to get other things, but it's kind of gonna be a slow game mode. Everybody does this until this is dead. So you're gonna log in, do one hit, come back in 3 hours, do another hit, come back in 3 hours, and do another hit. The first day won't be like this because everything dies. Like the highest hit point mob is like 12 million before the first boss. So, but the second day, third day, you're just gonna have to wait. You're gonna one hit every 3 hours or one hit until something dies. And if you're in a much less progressed guild and you're like, and you have 100 million hit point boss like this one, you can't go on to the next one. So you basically got to use all of your attempts on an off element. So you'll hit this one real quick with, what is it? Stupid basic. Dark. You're going to hit this with dark. And then you don't have any other dark teams most likely. So you're probably going to have to hit it with, like other ones too, like light or fire or water. And then waste all your attempts on that, which isn't very effective or efficient. And then once that guy goes down, you'll repeat the process again on this. So a clever guild manager, whatever, is going to be looking for long term rather than short term. If you want to get all the content done, you're going to know that you need to, like, let's say you want this supply truck, you're going to know that your path is going to go through this, but you're going to need to go down here eventually. And giving a person a second option, a less progressive option to go get that eventually, might not be a bad idea, because it's just more efficient. So when you're on Elvira Bloom, let's say you get to Elvira Bloom, you have 2 or 3 days to do it, which may sound crazy, but these are level 76 mobs, so you're going to go, well, some of these are level 76 mobs and stuff like that. It starts to get into the 80s here, but the bosses are going to be a little bit more thin than you might think they would be. But if you get there with a day or two to spare, and you really want to get those buttons done, you start working on the buttons while you're working on that, because that's just efficiency. You need to, because if you have 2 water teams, that's cool. If you have 1 water team, those other 2 hits should go to efficient places. But either way, and also somebody brought this up, points, right? So you get 1,000 capture score for capturing a boss, right? Cool, 1,000 there. So we go over here, 36,000, right? So let's do the math real quick. We get 1,000, so we get 1/3, whatever, of the value. Let's go over here, 12,000. Not sure we get with a capture score, plus 800. Let's see where that's coming from. So I'm not really sure. I haven't honestly looked at that. Something increases the capture score, but I'm not sure what it is. So we got 180 on this one, 240 on that one, 240, 120. Is that just a percentage? So 20% maybe? Yeah. So you're getting 20% from something. Yeah, maybe it's just 10% per supply truck. 10% here, 10% there. That's giving her 20% bonus. We got one supply truck here, so let's see. Still looks like a 20% bonus. Yeah. Okay, so you're going to get 20% bonus from something. Honestly, don't know. But as I click around, you can always go back and watch this video and look at the actual values, right? So capture values of these monsters. Like, if you want to come up with a cool way to actually maximize this, I think the best way to do your points to get ranking, right, is to honestly you just kind of want to push the smart path, the efficient path. Don't get too wrapped up in ranking. That'll happen passively. Damage is still going to be king every time. So you're going to want a tank. You're going to want an augment tank on this guy, this girl. I don't think you want to tank it all on this one, and I don't think you want to tank it all on this one. This is a 2-minute fight, by the way, and it's worth looking up because there's some crazy mechanics in it. It's not the same fight as it was before. And there is a nuke that will wipe your party around the 30-second mark or something like that. So yeah, interesting encounters, whatever. That fight's totally revamped. These fights haven't changed. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the new Conquest mode. So hopefully y'all can start preparing for it with your guild with the week that we have before it comes out. Adios.